you are spiraling because you saw FEM Felicia told you she made $1 billion while she was on the beach and in her sleep. And what I'm telling you, sis, is that she was on a sales call before she posted that. And let's talk about it. Like, we've seen, the beautiful coach, FEM Felicia, who swears she only works 6 hours a month. And I love her. She's amazing. She's got a really good soul, and she's not intending to mislead. That's not her intention at all, because there's certain things that she sees as work and certain things that she doesn't. And so I'm going to tell you a story about this so that you can pull yourself out of the comparison trap and then start to really get into your own power. All right, divas, divine divas, are y'all listening? Okay. So you think about FEM Felicia, right? And she's saying, oh, I just, it's barely work. I only, do this for 6 hours a month. But, she's posted 25 sales stories. You know that she's done 2 reels. You've seen the beautiful carousel post, and you're like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing with my life? You're like, how does she do this? Make it look so easy. And you're wondering, like, how is she doing less while I'm doing the most, right? At least that's what you feel. When in actuality, you're probably working the same amount of hours. So let me tell you a story. So I remember a time in my business, I was scaling fast. I was like doing all the things. I had come out of corporate. So that's where, I was 56 hours a week. And my mantra was, I want to make, double the money working half the time, right? And so that would be, 25 hours a week or, making multi 6 figures. Like, that was the mantra that I had that walked me into this industry. And so I get in the industry. Now I'm doing this full time. I'm really looking at like how many hours I'm working or what I'm doing. And I'm counting like the real work, creating the social media, also doing my marketing, like that kind of stuff, in addition to facilitating, right? So if I added that all together, it probably was maybe 25, 30 hours a week. Maybe, probably a lot less. I think I'm over. It's way less, but let's just say 20 hours a week. And so then I see, work with this coach, and then she's telling me I'm too in my masculine. I need to rest and relax more and all of this stuff. So I start going into the feminine as the way they presented it to me. This person presented it to me. And to me, that was disorganized. It was chaotic. It had no strategy. And I was all over the place, which ended up me going down the fast road to filing for bankruptcy and not being successful in my business. And I thought about it, and I was like, what brought me to that point? And it was because I was looking and comparing myself to what someone else told me my life should be. Should be 6 hours. I should be, sipping on mimosas. I shouldn't be working too much. It's out of my integrity of the feminine and all of this kind of stuff. And that was just bullshit. Let me tell you the truth. The truth is that this person also had strategy. This person was talking about her, like, I stopped and I looked and I was like, wait, she's talking about what she's doing for the quarter, which means that she has some plans. Like, she's got some kind of strategy. Like, what's going on? And it just helped me to realize how I was comparing myself and what I'm doing to someone else. And comparison is the thief of all joy, 100%. And so let's bring it back to FEM Felicia. I recently went to a conference, and this beautiful soul was really talking about her 4-hour months. Like, she works 4 hours a month. But then she started posting about, like, talking about her posts on social media and the things that she's doing. And everyone at my table was looking like, well, how is she doing this? I don't get it. Like, they were very confused. What they didn't realize, and I got it immediately because I had been down that road so many years ago, was that all that she was really counting as work was when she was facilitating, when she was in teach mode, coach mode, like doing that type of thing. She did mostly, one-to-many work, but she didn't do client-to-client work. So that was really her work for her. Like, those 4 hours a month when she was on Zoom, that's all. But what she didn't include in the numbers was the social media creation time, the time of engaging on social media, like all of those small things. And the reason why she didn't include it in the hours for her was because it doesn't feel like work. My life is infused with the social media. Like, that's just, I would be doing that in her mind. She said I would be doing that even if this wasn't my job, right? And so she didn't include it in her hours. But it confused a lot of the people because they were like, well, I don't understand how you're getting all of this done in just 4 hours, because they're thinking literal. And so what I want you to do is just anytime you're comparing your number of hours or your way of doing things to someone else's, it's pulling you out of your power. It's taking you out of your divinity. And you came here to be divinity, not to follow behind someone else. And so it's not about this person, like, sipping her matcha in Bali and like, oh my God, I barely work, I love my life. If you want to use that and it's inspiration, then use it as inspiration. But I want you to put your thinking cap on and just say, okay, well, what am I delegating? Do I have a team doing all the other stuff? Because all of that goes into being a business person. The reason why this is important is because when we are talking like a Divinity House, I created Divinity House because it's about resilience. It's about you stepping up and doing the things that you really want to do and creating the business and the empire that you get to create. I've been in this industry for a long time, and I've watched so many gifted, amazing women come in and just blow up and then fall apart. And it's because they couldn't handle the pressure, or they didn't think they were going to have to work this much, or they didn't realize what it's going to look like to be the CEO of a company, or they didn't realize what the pressure was going to feel like when they felt responsible for success, or responsible for a team, or responsible for these other things. They didn't like that the 6 6-hour work week that the billionaire FEM Felicia told him that they could have, it wasn't really true, and that there were other things happening behind the scenes, conversations with teams and things, managing your people, direct reports, leading people, that kind of stuff, that also is work that they didn't really factor in. And because they didn't factor it in, it really created this energy that was just a huge spiritual leak. And they couldn't handle it. They were like, I cannot take this industry anymore. And they left, fled. And I understand why. It's because they didn't have the right leadership. They didn't have the right groups. They didn't have people talking about the real deal Holyfield conversations and the real deal Holyfield type of power that you need to have in order to lead businesses of the size that you are desiring. So let's tell the truth. Comparison is an energy leak, right? So every time you try to compare your business to FEM Felicia's business, or yourself to what this other person's doing, you're going to experience a leak, because you're trying to create a life on something that wasn't the full truth, or wasn't the full perspective. Let's not even say it's not the truth, because she was saying it in a way that was her truth. She just was sharing it in a way that wasn't the full perspective. And so when you're comparing yourself to someone's Instagram feed and you're like, oh, hashtag relationship goals, you're only talking about what you see. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes. You don't know what's really going on. And so instead of comparing yourself to other people, what you need to do is decide, what do I want my business to look like? How do I build my resilience? How do I expand my capacity to hold? And talk about things real deal. Talk about it, the truth. Be real about what you think, like what it's going to be. And be prepared that it's not what the Instagram highlights are telling you. So if we're honest, right, 99.9999999% honest, you want to buy into the FEM Felicia 6-hour a month story, because you want something, like you want to not have to work for things. And the truth is, when you are in your vision and when you are in your true mission, when you are doing what you know you've been placed on the earth to do, you aren't trying to get out of work. You're not trying to get out of movement. We came here as humans so that we can have boots on the ground and actually experience and create and be in this matter, so that we could experience life. We didn't come here so that we could just lay on the beach, sip cocktails. And I mean, maybe some people did, but you didn't. You're not watching this. You, as a light leader and as Ascension Acre, as a spiritual CEO, did not come on this earth just to like sip cocktails and sit by the pool all day. So you fell for that story because there's some aspects of the way you set up your business where you are falling into the belief that you can't handle it. You're falling into the belief that maybe you're not prepared for it. You're falling into those stories that have been conditioned in you. And I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. What you get to do is just shift your viewpoint and shift your expectation of what being the CEO of a company that is supporting millions of people, hundreds of people, thousands of people, what it actually looks like. And when you are aware of what it could actually look like, what are some of the things that are just par for the course that just comes with having a company, and then you start to say, okay, what's the reality that I would love to create? How would I like this to be? How much time do I want to spend with my family and my friends, or outside of it? How much time do I want to spend in my mission? Then you can come with all eyes open. That's when you can really build your resilience. That's when you can expand your capacity. That's when things happen and it's not a shock to your system that it makes you want to run and hide. And this is why I created the Divinity House. The Divinity House is a mastermind that's not like all other masterminds. It's not about just coming in here, you get some strategy, and then all we're doing is talking about money wins and celebrating it. It is a space that you get to hold all of you. It is a space where you get to have the real deal conversations. It's a space where you get to say, oh, that's what it's like. Oh, that's what it feels like. This is the space where you get to be flip-flop slapped back into your power to remember, oh yeah, I came here, I wouldn't have manifested that if I wasn't here to hold that, if I wasn't here to take it, if I wasn't here to make it what I want it to be. This is the space where you know that, quitters don't enter. It's because you've got a mission, you've got a vision, you've been placed on this earth to anchor in so much light, and you're anchoring it in no matter what. You've been placed on this earth to impact hundreds of thousands or millions of people, and you're not stopping no matter what. This is the space for you, so that when you are coming at the edges of your capacity, you do not collapse. You know you have the tools to energetically shift, to spiritually shift, and to somatically shift, so that mind, body, and soul are aligned, and you're walking through, and you're taking those challenges and you're holding them on your shoulder like this, and you're like, I'm not holding it all by myself, because I've got a group of women that are holding it with me, and I don't let posts like FEM Felicia's post that's about 10% of the truth impact me. It is the place that we clear the doubts that may be coming back, right? Because I've had so many clients, I need to do a live on this, that thought they cleared a whole bunch of stuff, and then all of a sudden, bam, it came back. $100,000 a month. Oh my God, why am I thinking that, my life is over? Or why am I thinking this is going to be so hard? Why do I think I don't know what I'm doing? And it's all because it's like, now it's a newer level. Let's start to shift this deeper, right? It's like a spiral, right? We're shifting deeper. We're closing cycles. We're clearing things. We're healing things from ancestral lines and past lives. Like, we are doing the work. And that is what Divinity House is for. It's to shift and expand your energetic resilience and your physical resilience, so that you don't feel overwhelmed, so you don't feel like you're at capacity. Is expanding your capacity to infinite capacity. Not that you're going to hold it all by yourself, because you know that God within you and all around you is holding that with you. So it's not like you're all alone, but it's expanding your capacity so that the million feels like the one. So that the 100,000 people in the audience feels like it did when you had 10 people in the audience, and it felt like a no-brainer. And of course, I'm doing this. And so if you are tired of getting to the point and then maybe pulling away from social media or thinking that you need a break or doing all these things that bring you into the fragility factor. If you haven't been listening to my podcast, The Bougie Healed Diva, that's me, you need to watch it, listen to it, because it is so good. And there's so many good points of that help you at this point. But if you are ready to calibrate and continuously calibrate to the only identity you'll ever need, because when you remember that you are the divine diva, you are the divine. Do you think that God within you is like, oh, let me up level my identity? No, when you are God, right? When you are divine, you are divine. There's no other identity above that. You just continue to be divine, and you know that you can handle it. That's the identity that you get to hone in on and anchor in every day for the next 12 months. It is imperative that you as an ascension anchor, that you as a light leader, that you as a spiritual CEO who is here in this time, in the chaos and the crazy, because you are anchoring in this earth expansion, this 5D renaissance, this new earth that is happening, and it's all happening now, and all of the things that cannot go along with it are coming at you and coming at your clients. And in order for you to hold space and be able to walk them through it like you're walking you've got to walk yourself through it. You got to be the one that's like, they're like, how are you so calm in the midst of all this crazy? You get to say, oh, come sit down, let me tell you. But in order to do that, you've got to be calm in the midst of all the crazy. And in order for you to do that, come into the Divinity House.